When What's Happening premiered in 1976, it brought laughter, friendship, and heart to living rooms across America. Inspired by the film Cooley High, the sitcom followed three teenage friends, Raj Dwayne and Rerun, navigating life school and hilarious misadventures in Los Angeles. With its charm, catchy humor, and relatable stories, the show became a beloved TV classic and a groundbreaking moment for Black representation on television. But what happened to the cast after the show ended in 1979? In 2025, we revisit the stars of What's Happening, their journey's triumphs, and the lasting legacy of this feel-good 70s favorite. Shirley Hemphill was born on July 1, 1947, in Asheville, North Carolina, and was 29 when she became the brassy, sharp-tongued Shirley Wilson in What's Happening 1976, a no-nonsense waitress whose sarcasm, wit, and occasional maternal guidance balanced the youthful chaos of the male leads. Her character was simultaneously comedic and grounding, endearing her to audiences with a mix of toughness, intelligence, and underlying warmth, offering a window into urban female resilience at a time when Black women's voices were rarely front and center in television comedy. Hemphill's childhood was marked by the twin burdens of poverty and systemic racial barriers, forcing her to develop an early resilience and quick wit as survival tools, masking vulnerability with humor, a trait that would define her stand-up and screen work. Professionally, she battled the pervasive sexism of the entertainment industry, often overlooked or typecast despite her talent, and endured the quiet indignities of pay disparities, creative constraints, and a male-dominated workplace. While she avoided major public scandal, she was known for being outspoken, independent, and occasionally combative with producers or colleagues who attempted to control her career trajectory. Her personal life remained private and largely solitary. She never married, and few details of her romantic life are publicly known, a deliberate choice to shield herself from intrusion and maintain agency over her narrative. Health issues ultimately ended her life prematurely. She died on December 10, 1999, at age 52 from kidney failure, a condition likely exacerbated by years of stress and limited resources. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at $1 million accumulated through television royalties, stand-up performances, and syndication residuals, providing a modest financial legacy. Hemphill's life represents the duality of public adoration and private struggle, reflecting both the persistent barriers faced by women of color in entertainment and the enduring brilliance of a performer whose humor and resilience transcended personal hardship. Danielle Spencer, born June 24, 1965, in Trenton, New Jersey, was only 11 when she portrayed Dee Thomas in What's Happening in 1976, a role that made her the sharp-tongued, whip-smart younger sister capable of both comedic timing and piercing wit, famously warning, "Ooh, I'm gonna tell Mama Dee's intelligence." Fearlessness and precocious humor provided a counterbalance to the boy's antics, earning her a lasting place in the hearts of viewers. Off-screen, Spencer's life was marked by profound adversity and remarkable resilience. A 1977 car accident tragically killed her stepfather and left her in a 3-week coma, resulting in permanent spinal injuries, while later surviving breast cancer, and a brain hemorrhage further tested her endurance and tenacity. Despite these challenges, she pursued an ambitious academic path, earning a veterinary doctorate and maintaining a decades-long career in veterinary medicine while occasionally returning to the entertainment industry. Her personal life reflected both triumph and struggle, balancing medical studies and practice with the lingering effects of childhood trauma, managing relationships under public scrutiny, and confronting the physical consequences of her injuries. The cumulative challenges of health crises and personal loss shaped Spencer into a figure of remarkable fortitude. She passed away on August 11, 2025, at age 60, due to gastric cancer and cardiac arrest. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at $1.2 million, combining her earnings from early acting veterinary practice and careful personal investments. Spencer's life story intertwines the glamour of early television fame with the harsh realities of personal loss and medical adversity, leaving a legacy that underscores courage, intellect, and resilience, and demonstrating that her impact extended far beyond the small screen into the realms of professional accomplishment and personal triumph over adversity. Ernest Thomas, born March 26, 1950 in Gary, Indiana, was 26 when he assumed the role of Roger Raj Thomas in What's Happening in 1976, portraying the responsible, often neurotic older brother, whose quiet intelligence and moral compass anchored the trio's chaotic adventures. Raj's character was consistently the voice of reason, trying to mediate between his less disciplined friends and the pressures of adolescence, which endeared him to viewers who related to his constant balancing act between loyalty and self-preservation. Thomas's early life was marked by profound adversity. Growing up in a city scarred by industrial decline and systemic racial challenges, he endured poverty, familial instability, and social ridicule, forcing him to develop a precocious sense of responsibility and emotional restraint that would later define his on-screen persona. His career trajectory was a mixture of promise and missed opportunities. Most notably, he narrowly lost the groundbreaking role of Kunta Kinte in Roots, a casting disappointment that could have propelled him to international fame, but instead redirected him toward a slower, steadier career path. Hollywood's inner workings presented their own challenges. Thomas was known to navigate the complex dynamics of typecasting, sometimes clashing with producers over creative differences, and his early romantic involvement with actress Kim Cattrall sparked whispers, but never escalated into scandal. Despite living with amblyopia, which subtly affected his screen presence, he cultivated a professional reputation for reliability and intelligence, avoiding the more destructive pitfalls that ensnared many of his peers. Over decades, Thomas accrued steady residuals from syndication and guest appearances, managing a modest fortune that reflects a career built on persistence rather than sensationalism. At 75, he remains alive and active, his net worth estimated at $500,000, symbolizing the quiet resilience of an actor who balanced personal adversity with public recognition, maintaining dignity in an industry often unforgiving to those unwilling to compromise their values. David Hollander was born on August 7, 1969, in Los Angeles, California, and was only 9 years old when he appeared as Little Earl Barnett Jr. in the final season of What's Happening in 1978. His character, a mischievous, precocious child who often outwitted the older kids, provided a fresh energy and comic relief, endearing him to audiences and giving him early exposure to the pressures of television production. Hollander's childhood was marked by the challenges of growing up in a single-parent household after his father left when he was just 6, forcing him to navigate a mix of financial insecurity and emotional neglect while hiding his insecurities behind a precocious sense of humor. Entering the entertainment world so young exposed him to the harsher realities of Hollywood. He endured grueling work schedules, public scrutiny, and the constant risk of typecasting as the cute kid long before he was ready. Though largely scandal-free, he later admitted that the early fame came with anxiety and social isolation, leaving him wary of adult authority figures in the industry. Transitioning into behind-the-scenes roles as a producer and music supervisor, Hollander faced multiple near failures. Several of his early projects were canceled mid-production, and he had to fight for recognition in an industry quick to sideline child actors. Despite these setbacks, he carved a stable career with work on Black Dynamite Airplane and other productions, demonstrating a tenacity rare among former child stars. Hollander has remained largely private about his personal life, avoiding the tumult and publicized scandals that plague many of his peers, focusing instead on his craft and mentorship of young creatives. As of 2025, at age 56, he is alive and active in the industry with a net worth estimated at $1 million. His legacy is quietly influential, bridging the gap between child acting and successful production work and reflecting the perseverance of a man who survived Hollywood's early pressures to forge a sustainable, respected career behind the camera. Haywood Nelson, born March 25, 1960 in New York City, was only 16 when he became Dwayne Nelson in What's Happening in 1976, embodying the sweet, goofy, and endearingly naive best friend whose "hey, hey, hey" catchphrase became a cultural touchstone. Dwayne's comic relief, sincerity, and unwavering loyalty made him a beloved figure to audiences. But Nelson's off-screen life was far more complex, colored by the pressures of early fame and the challenge of maintaining personal identity amid adulation. Growing up in a family grappling with economic uncertainty, he faced the dual burden of adolescent development and public scrutiny, making him acutely aware of both the privileges and perils of celebrity. Professionally, Nelson navigated the volatile landscape of 1970s and 1980s Hollywood, contending with typecasting diminishing opportunities as he matured and the delicate management of his image as a teen idol. His personal life was a tapestry of high-profile marriages, including one to Kanadia Sky, linked to Egyptian royalty, and his involvement with Scientology introduced further scrutiny and intrigue in Hollywood circles. Despite stepping away from acting for extended periods, he reinvented himself as a businessman, founding his own company and maintaining a degree of autonomy that eluded many of his contemporaries. Nelson's story includes the quiet hardships behind the glamour, the emotional strain of navigating fame at a formative age, multiple divorces, and the challenge of translating early popularity into sustainable adult success. Today at 65, he continues to manage his business ventures, his net worth estimated at $500,000, though some speculate it could reach $1 million when factoring in investments. Nelson's life illustrates the fragile balance between early stardom and personal survival, highlighting the resilience required to transform fleeting fame into enduring stability while quietly surviving the pressures, controversies, and social scrutiny inherent to Hollywood life. Fred Berry was born on March 19, 1951, in St. Louis, Missouri, and was 25 when he captured hearts as Freddie Rerun Stubbs in What's Happening 1976, a character defined by his chubby, exuberant, and endlessly inventive personality, signature red beret and suspenders. Rerun was the comic soul of the show, a break-dancing enthusiast and schemer whose hunger misadventures and playful arrogance made him unforgettable to audiences, serving as both the source of levity and a mirror to the struggles of urban youth in the 1970s. Berry's real life, however, was a roller coaster far darker than Rerun's antics suggested. Growing up in a working-class family in St. Louis, he experienced poverty, emotional neglect, and repeated ridicule for his weight, cultivating a lifelong sense of insecurity that he masked with humor and bravado. His meteoric rise to fame brought both adulation and immense pressure, which fueled a series of destructive behaviors, including severe alcohol and drug abuse and multiple suicide attempts. Berry married 6 times with 4 different women, revealing a pattern of unstable relationships and tumultuous personal decisions. Professionally, he faced repeated setbacks after What's Happening, struggling to find roles outside the shadow of Rerun, and at times being ostracized for his erratic behavior and clashes with producers. Health issues compounded his difficulties, particularly his diabetes, which led to significant weight loss and life-altering complications. Despite these challenges, he found a measure of redemption by becoming a Baptist minister and motivational speaker, using his story to inspire others grappling with addiction and personal failure. Barry died on October 21, 2003, at age 52, from complications of a stroke, leaving behind an estate estimated at $500,000, reflective not of his cultural impact, but of the personal and financial turbulence that marked his life. His legacy endures as a cautionary, yet inspiring tale of the highs and lows of early fame, the human cost of vulnerability, and the enduring charm of a character who became emblematic of 1970s television comedy. Fritzi Burr was born on May 31, 1924, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and was 53 when she portrayed Miss Collins, the sardonic school administrator, in What's Happening from 1977 to 1979. Her character's sharp wit, dry sarcasm, and subtle disdain for the students' antics made her a fan favorite and a pivotal source of comedic tension in the series. Burr's own childhood was steeped in hardship, growing up in a working-class Philadelphia family during the Great Depression. She endured poverty, parental neglect, and frequent humiliation at school, learning early to conceal her emotions and cultivate resilience. Her career spanned decades, but she frequently faced professional instability, moving between television guest spots, stage work, and small film roles, often overlooked for leading parts despite her skill. Burr was known among colleagues for being fiercely opinionated and occasionally confrontational on set, which sometimes led to friction with producers and co-stars, though she avoided public scandal. Her greatest professional disappointment came in the early 1960s when she was passed over for a long-term Broadway contract after a critically acclaimed performance, a rejection that haunted her for years and fueled a quiet determination to succeed on television instead. Personal challenges included a succession of difficult relationships and the emotional burden of raising a family while sustaining a demanding acting career. Burr passed away on January 17, 2003, at age 78, from natural causes in Los Angeles, leaving behind a legacy of professionalism and versatility. Her net worth at death was approximately $400,000, accrued through decades of supporting roles, stage performances, and television appearances. Burr's life reflects a steadfast commitment to craft and survival in an unforgiving industry marked by perseverance, a sharp intellect, and the ability to transform personal hardships into enduring, memorable performances that continue to resonate with fans of classic television. Mabel King was born on December 25, 1932, in Charleston, South Carolina, and was 44 when she took on the role of Mabel Mama Thomas in What's Happening 1976, a stern yet loving matriarch whose authority, moral clarity, and comedic timing provided a strong backbone to the series' narrative. Her character was known for her signature phrase, "This is true," which captured her unwavering principles and became a hallmark of her portrayal, resonating with audiences as both a source of humor and emotional grounding. Off-screen, King's life was marked by profound personal tragedy and enduring struggle. She lost her only child, a loss that left lasting emotional wounds, and her health deteriorated due to diabetes, culminating in multiple amputations that drastically altered her mobility and quality of life. Professionally, King faced significant challenges, leaving What's Happening after just 2 seasons due to creative disagreements with producers and refusing to return for the show's revival, demonstrating her unwillingness to compromise artistic integrity even at the cost of mainstream visibility. Known for her assertive and sometimes combative personality, she navigated an industry rife with systemic inequities against Black actresses, often confronting stereotypes and limited opportunities head-on. King's earlier work on Broadway and in films such as The Wiz and The Jerk reflected her range and talent, though she remained underappreciated relative to her skills. She died on November 9, 1999, at age 66, from complications of diabetes, leaving an estate valued at approximately $800,000, a sum reflecting a successful yet financially constrained career in an industry that often undervalued women of color. Mabel King's life and career remain a testament to resilience in the face of both personal loss and professional marginalization, illustrating the human cost behind the screen persona of a matriarch whose humor, authority, and heart continue to resonate with audiences decades later. Teddy Wilson, born December 10, 1943 in New York City, was 33 when he appeared in What's Happening 1976 as Al Dunbar, the slick, fast-talking concert promoter whose shady dealings and bootleg of a Doobie Brothers performance made for one of the show's most dramatic storylines. Wilson's portrayal of Al was cunning and magnetic, reflecting both humor and moral decay traits the actor knew intimately from his own world of struggle and compromise. Born into a working-class family in Harlem, Wilson grew up amid hardship, surrounded by the grit of 1950s New York. He faced racism, unemployment, and gang violence, escaping through performance. After studying drama, he built a career through guest roles in sitcoms like Good Times and Sanford Arms, often cast as the smooth-talking hustler or charming villain. But behind the laughter lay frustration. He longed for more serious roles, but found Hollywood unwilling to see him as anything but comic relief. Friends described him as intelligent and brooding, but prone to bursts of anger when confronted with discrimination or creative disrespect. Off-screen, his life was riddled with volatility. He married actress Joan Pringle, but their union endured professional competition, frequent separations, and financial strain. Wilson's drinking habits worsened during career slumps, and though he reportedly sobered up in the late 1980s, years of stress had already eroded his health. By then, he had become disillusioned with the industry's treatment of black talent and considered leaving acting altogether. Still, he remained beloved among peers for his mentorship and biting humor. Tragedy struck when he suffered a massive stroke and died on July 21, 1991, at just 47 in Los Angeles. His estate, valued around $500,000, consisted mostly of residuals and modest property holdings. Though his name faded from mainstream memory, his performances endure as raw portraits of ambition and imperfection, proof that even in fleeting roles, Teddy Wilson captured the tension between laughter and pain that defined a generation of overlooked actors. Thalmus Rasulala, born November 15, 1935 in Miami, Florida, was 41 when he portrayed Bill Thomas in What's Happening 1976, the calm yet emotionally distant father of Raj and Dee. Bill represented the dignity and quiet pain of many black fathers during that era, present yet haunted, loving yet unable to express it. Off-screen, Rasulala's life was far from serene. Born Jack Crowder into a working-class family that struggled to survive, he endured poverty, discrimination, and a fractured home that forced him to mature early. Often mocked by peers for his intellect and articulate speech, he learned to hide emotion behind stoicism. After college, he immersed himself in theater mastering, Shakespeare and August Wilson before Hollywood took notice. Yet his integrity became both gift and curse. Renaming himself Thalmus Rasulala after joining the Nation of Islam, he sought spiritual grounding and cultural pride. But it also branded him a radical in Hollywood's eyes, limiting his roles. Though he starred in blaxploitation classics like Blackula and Willie Dynamite, Rasulala grew disillusioned by what he saw as caricatured depictions of black men. On set, he was known for his perfectionism and sharp temper, clashing with producers over artistic choices. His marriage was marred by long separations and career pressures, and his inner circle spoke of his loneliness despite outward composure. By the mid-1980s, health issues began to slow him down, yet he continued to teach acting and mentor young performers. Behind the elegance and intellect lay a man battling exhaustion and disillusionment. Rasulullah died suddenly on October 9, 1991, at 55, from a heart attack linked to leukemia complications, while in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His estate, worth roughly $1 million, included film royalties, real estate, and stage memorabilia. Though his death went largely unnoticed by mainstream media within the Black acting community, it was felt deeply a reminder of how many brilliant men of his generation gave their lives to art, yet never truly escaped the system that constrained them. Earl Billings was born on July 4, 1945, in Cleveland, Ohio, and was 32 years old when he began appearing as Rob, a recurring character in What's Happening starting in 1977. Billings's character was approachable, witty, and imbued with a grounded everyman charm that allowed him to interact seamlessly with the show's youthful leads, providing both comic timing and an understated moral center. Growing up in post-war Cleveland, he experienced economic instability, frequent family conflicts, and subtle forms of discrimination, all of which shaped a guarded, pragmatic personality and a determination to find stability through performance. His career was marked by periods of both visibility and obscurity. While his talent was undeniable, he faced repeated casting frustrations and occasional typecasting as a supporting character, leaving him financially strained during lean periods. Billings' off-screen life included bouts of personal tension, and though he avoided major scandals, colleagues noted his tendency toward blunt honesty and occasional clashes with producers over creative decisions which may have cost him higher-profile roles. His most significant career setback occurred when he was passed over for a lead role in a major 1980s series due to concerns about his marketability, a decision that haunted him professionally and financially. Despite these obstacles, he maintained a decades-long presence in television and film, appearing in American Splendor, Thank You for Smoking, and countless guest roles demonstrating a resilience that few in Hollywood could match. Billings has largely kept his private life shielded from the public, maintaining discretion in his relationships and family matters. Now, 80 years old and still living, he has amassed a modest net worth estimated between $100,000 and $1 million, reflective of a steady, hard-working career rather than the glitz and glamour of superstardom. His life story is one of perseverance, showcasing the quiet dignity of a performer who endured the unpredictable nature of Hollywood with grit, integrity, and a consistent commitment to his craft. Helen Martin, born July 23, 1909, in St. Louis, Missouri, was 67 when she lit up screens as Millie, the sharp-tongued, hilarious older woman in What's Happening, 1976, a role that drew on her theatrical background and instinctive timing. Millie's bold wit and fearlessness mirrored Martin's real-life personality, which had been forged through decades of racial and artistic struggle. Growing up in a segregated neighborhood, she learned early to use humor and intellect as armor against systemic oppression. Her mother was a seamstress, her father a postal worker, and both encouraged her education, though the family battled poverty and prejudice throughout her youth. She began her career on Broadway during an era when opportunities for Black actresses were scarce, enduring blatant discrimination while building an unshakable reputation as a powerhouse performer. Martin became a founding member of the American Negro Theater, helping launch the careers of legends like Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. Yet, she herself often faced typecasting as maids or eccentric elders. Off-screen, she was outspoken, irreverent, and defiantly unfiltered, famously declaring on late-night television, "I love reefer," a statement that shocked the public, but perfectly captured her uninhibited spirit. Despite her comedic facade, Martin struggled with periods of loneliness and resentment toward an industry that had never fully celebrated her artistry. She never married, claiming she valued freedom over conformity, and though she mentored younger Black actors, she often described Hollywood as a circus that eats its own. Even so, her career spanned over 5 decades, culminating in roles in 227 Hollywood Shuffle and Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. She died on March 25, 2000 in Monterey, California, at 90 from a heart attack. Her net worth at death was around $3 million built from stage royalties, film contracts, and property investments. Fierce, witty, and unapologetically authentic Martin's life embodied both the cost and triumph of surviving as a Black woman in show business. Debbie Morgan, born September 20, 1956, in Dunn, North Carolina, was just 20 when she joined What's Happening 1976 as Diane, a confident, stylish young woman who balanced warmth with independence. Her character stood out as a rare depiction of a young Black woman who was neither comic relief nor a stereotype, earning audience affection for her sharp wit and emotional honesty. Yet Morgan's real life was a patchwork of trauma and reinvention. Raised in the Bronx after her parents' divorce, she grew up surrounded by domestic violence and fear. Her father's suicide when she was a teenager left deep emotional scars that later bled into her acting roles. Entering Hollywood as a newcomer, she faced rejection and exploitation, often told she was too soft or too dark for certain parts. Her breakthrough in daytime television came with All My Children, but fame brought scrutiny. Behind the poise, Morgan wrestled with insecurity, a string of failed marriages, including a turbulent one with actor Charles S. Dutton, and the emotional residue of her father's death. In private, she battled depression and trust issues, sometimes withdrawing completely from the public eye. Industry insiders described her as both gentle and fierce, an actress who demanded truth in every line, even at the cost of alienating directors. She revealed years later that she had suffered abuse in multiple relationships, fueling her passion for advocacy and women's empowerment. Her career wasn't without hardship. After the early 2000s, she endured long, dry spells, surviving financially through voice work and guest appearances. Yet resilience defined her story. Today at 69, she continues to act and write, living a quieter life in New York. Her estimated net worth of $12.5 million comes from decades of television work, real estate investments, and publishing ventures. Morgan remains an emblem of perseverance, a woman who turned her scars into strength and transformed private pain into public art. Ray Vitti, born November 20, 1949 in New York City, was 27 when he played Gene, the high-spirited, hyperactive DJ and comic relief in What's Happening 1976, whose boundless energy and quick wit gave the show some of its most memorable moments. Gene's humor masked a sensitivity that resonated with audiences, but off-screen Vitti's own life reflected deep turmoil beneath the charm. Raised in Harlem by a single mother after his father's early death, he grew up amid poverty, racial tension, and the chaos of 1960s New York. Acting became his escape, and his talent landed him early roles in Car Wash, and Thank God It's Friday. Yet behind his rise was a man haunted by self-doubt and volatile emotions. Friends described him as magnetic, but unpredictable, brilliant one moment, withdrawn the next. Hollywood insiders whispered about mood swings, erratic behavior, and frequent confrontations with producers. By the early 1980s, Vitti was struggling with paranoia and religious mania, claiming divine visions and fasting for days at a time. His career collapsed under the weight of his instability, and he isolated himself from colleagues and friends. On February 20, 1983, his life ended in tragedy during a violent confrontation with Los Angeles police. Neighbors had reported erratic shouting of religious chants from his apartment. Police arrived, tear-gassed him, and beat him during the arrest. He died en route to the hospital at just 33 years old. The LAPD later claimed he suffered excited delirium though civil rights activists decried his death as police brutality, sparking outrage in Hollywood's black community. Vitae's net worth at death was estimated at $200, ours reflecting a career cut brutally short. His story remains one of Hollywood's quiet tragedies, a talented young actor consumed by inner demons, institutional neglect, and a system that failed to protect him when he needed help, most turning a once promising star into a cautionary legend of fame and fragility. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of What's Happening and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.